Hi, I'm Barry. We're now ready to put this wallpaper actually on our feature wall. I'm just going to take you through the tools and equipment we actually need for this. And it makes it dead straightforward. So we've got a nice sharp knife with a brand new blade in. Okay, these are great tools to have. Pencil, a corking board, that's to help us cut the paper, keep our hands away from it so we don't ever cut anything. We've got a tape measure, a paper hanging brush, scissors. On the past I've used a seam roller. Okay, and that just helps with our joints slightly. But on this particular paper, okay, you can see that it's got like a texture to it. Okay, so we can't use this seam roller on this because it would flatten the joins. But the nature of this paper, you don't normally need you won't need a seam roller on it anyway. Okay, got a brush, that's just to put any little extra paste that we might need. Also, because up there we've got some vinyl paper, we're going to need some vinyl to vinyl adhesive just to help that stick. And that's the same when you take it around corners as well. We've got a spirit level, that's going to draw our straight line on the wall. We've got our paste mix up, we're going to put it on with a roller, clean bucket and sponge, and also we've got our hop up there to get to the top. Okay, right, just looking at the wallpaper, we've made sure all the batch numbers are the same. Okay, so it's a drop match pattern. We've set the setting, or we've done all the setting out on the wall, and it also says that it needs to make it soak there for 5 minutes. So if one piece soaks for 5 minutes, the next piece soaks for 5 minutes. Okay, so and if you don't let them, or if you walk away and you come back after 10 minutes, this is the problem you're going to get, is sometimes the joins will open up, and this is where you're going to get your little gaps. Okay, so 5 minutes, stick to those rules. In preparation for putting the wallpaper up, we've cross-lined the walls, and then we put some flexible filler on the top of the skirting board. Okay, and what that does is just helps when we're cutting our wallpaper. Okay, it gives it a soft surface for our knife to go into, and makes it so that we don't snag our paper. Okay, so it's a nice little painter's tip for you, or decorator's tip. And you can see we've painted the skirting board, we've put 2 coats of eggshell on the top of that, and again that creates a nice seal between the wall and the actual skirting board. Okay. Right then, I think we're ready to go. So get all your tools and equipment, get them all close together. Okay, don't forget your tools, your overalls for all your bits and pieces, and then we're ready to go. So again, I'm applying my paste with a roller. Okay, gets it nice and even. Okay, don't forget to push it over the edge, or just to refer back to my other videos on how you're pasting. Okay, so just sort of like roll it out like this, just so I'm exaggerating it. Okay, now this is a slightly different fold to what we've used before. In the past, we've just used a concertina fold. So I pasted down the one edge. Okay, this is the top of our paper. If you remember when I put the number 1 on it. Okay, so this is what you call well, there's several different names for it. I like to call it a sort of 3/4 and a 1/4 fold. So I'm bringing it down to roughly here, but make sure you line all the edges up so it all soaks all evenly. Okay, so fold down, don't crease this part. And then where you've just got this gap here, fold that down, and then we're going to leave that for 5 minutes for it to soak. While that's soaking, I'm just going to draw my straight line on the wall, so I'm not wasting any time. So we've established that that's the exact centre of our wall, and then this point here, this was exactly half of the pattern. Okay, and again, refer back to my previous video and explain the reasons why. So we always need to put our paper on a straight line. Okay. So I'll just show you how we're going to do that. That's our mark. Okay, so I like to use a spirit level that's got 2 bubbles in it. Okay, or you can use a plumb bob, but I always like to use a spirit level. So I'm going to put it up to the top of I'll do it this side for you. Put it up towards the ceiling line. Okay, I'm got it on my line there, and then I'm checking both bubbles. I'm looking at the top one first. Make sure it's exactly on the line. And then this particular bubble, it's slightly off. So slightly adjust it. I can never remember which way it is. That's the one. Check it again. Okay, I'm happy with that, so it's spot on. Don't go too dark with your pencil line. And then just to make things simple, okay, put your spirit level virtually where that mark was again. Just check it, sometimes they can have a bow in the wall. Okay, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's going to be the line our paper's going to go to. Right, the paper's now soaked. It's been soaked now for 5 minutes. Okay, the line's on the wall. We've got, say, all our tools and equipment there, and we're ready to go. Right, so this is the top. This is, again, the 3/4 to the quarter, or roughly. Okay, there's a little technique here which makes it really, really simple for putting your wallpaper up. So this is how I'm going to take it to the wall. Okay, so when I get up there, I'm going to hold it, pinch it with my finger and thumb. And sometimes you see people on these comedy shows, it drops down and they're just left with 2 little bits of paper in the corners of their fingers. Okay, so we're going to avoid that. So this is how, once we're up onto the scaffold, we're going to pinch it with our fingers, finger and thumb, and we're going to turn our hands over like this. Okay. Now, when I look down my straight line that I've already drawn on the wall, I'm looking at the straightness of my hand here, and also the straightness of this wallpaper here. So I've got 3 reference points just to make it very, very simple. When I put it onto the wall, I drop it down and I put it straight on. Okay, it's really, really easy this way. So let me show you. I'll do it slowly for you. Okay, so I'm taking it to the, it's not flopping around, I'm taking it to the wall like this. I'm in charge of this paper. All it is a piece of paper. Okay, ready. So I'll do it slowly and I'll go faster later on, just to show you the technique. So I've got my finger and thumb. Okay, I'm going to drop this piece to the floor. It's going to unwrap. Okay, the weight of the paper is going to hit the floor. I'm going to take it up to towards the ceiling line. Don't forget, I'm allowed myself a little overlap there, and I'm going to be looking again at the straightness of my hand, the straightness of the paper, and the straightness of this straight line. All I'm concerned about, not bother what goes on this side of the paper. All I'm concerned about is what goes on here. Okay, I can work the rest of it out later. Right, so here we go. Ready? So finger and thumb, and as I drop it down, I'm going to tuck my hands in. So it drops down, in, over, on. Okay, now I've got it on. Okay, I've got both hands free. Okay, I can see my line there. It's virtually straight already. So I'm just going to slightly lift it off and put it to my line. Okay, slightly adjust it as I'm going down. Okay, down to my 3/4 part. Okay. I'm happy with this gap that I've got there. Okay, maybe just slightly. Okay, so remember that distance that we talked about having the full pattern at the very, very top of the paper. Okay. Now that's in that line there, or straight on that wall, right? Now I can start to brush it out. So we're coming from this edge. Okay, I'm not squeezing it, I'm just brushing the air from underneath it. Now at the bottom I can just let this fall, okay, just let gravity take over. Sweep it down, okay, slightly adjust it. Make sure your edges are stuck. Down the middle. Okay. Now just get your fingers, just lift it up slightly. Okay. Now before I cut this piece, I'm going to put the next one to it. What we don't want to do is cut each piece individually, or we're going to just leave this, we could just leave a little overlap there. So we're always going to cut two pieces together at the same time. And sometimes when you just cut pieces individually, you can just about, you might just have the odd 0.5 millimeter difference. Okay, and that really does show. So we'll cut two pieces together, and you'll see what I mean in a second when I actually cut it. Okay, make sure your edges are all down. And then just stand back and just make sure that you're happy with the pattern. Can't see any air bubbles underneath it. You've got a little bit lifting up there. Wipe any paste marks that you've got on there. There's no paste on there, so I'm good to go. Okay, right, let's paste the next one. So don't forget, that's our number 1, and then we've got 2 either side now, number 2 and a number 2. Okay, see how quick that was to put up. So that's our first piece up, and now we're going to put our number 2s up either side of it. So this is a number 2, and also this is a number 2 as well. Okay, right, so now we just got to match the pattern. Exactly the same process as before. Okay, so just take your time again. Okay, don't forget that little technique I showed you about how to drop the paper and what we're looking for. Okay, the first piece that you put up, or the second piece you put up, when you're first matching the pattern can be quite sort of challenging, but once you get a few pieces down, it's fine. Okay, so again, just drop it down, up, over. Okay, so now we just need to line up the pattern. Okay, just get our hands free, okay, so the bubbles, keep them clean. I'm not worried about what's going on this side of the paper. Just want to get this perfect. Slide it across. Don't force it. If you've got too much of a gap, just take it off and start again. I probably could have trimmed it a bit better up the top there before I put it on the table. Now while I'm up here, I might as well trim it. Okay. So I'm not going to go again. I'm just going to come short here and come short there. Okay, so get your corking blade, sharp knife. Okay, just run that along first. In fact, just put my fingers in there. With it being a metallic paper. Okay, not all the way to the end. Do it gently for you. Or slowly rather. Okay, now they've got the 2 pieces of paper that I'm cutting through now, so press your corking board up, keep the papers tight. And knock to the end again. So now you can see we've got a lovely straight line that we've cut with our knife. There's no gaps, it's not snags. Okay. Don't forget when you're using your knife, okay, keep it nice and low to the surface. Okay. If you have it up this way, that's where you can create the snags in the paper. Just keep it low, okay, and I like to have quite a bit of blade out. Okay, now we've cut that piece off. Okay, we've got a little bit of paste on our ceiling. Make sure you remove all of this. Some paste will actually stain, okay, so might be worthwhile put some low tack tape up there. So to the camera, it looks like this is there's loads of white speckles of paint on this, but it's actually the glitter that's shining off the paper, and it looks incredible close up. Okay, so we just need to cut this bottom section. Again, we put our nails into it. Get a corking board. Okay, some papers you can slide along with it. This one you can't because it'll scratch it. Okay, so again, sharp blade. I'm going to change this blade afterwards. Not all the way to the end. Fingers well out of the way. Nice and sharp. If it starts to snag up a little bit, just snap your blade off. Start again with a new blade. This paper cuts beautifully. Okay, right to the edge. Not to the edge, rather. Just turn that off. And again, that's that. There's two pieces of paper there. There's not even, well, there's no difference at all. It's perfect. Wipe it along. Okay, clean your skirting boards up. A bit of paste there. Right, and again, just check back that you're happy with everything. If you've got sort of an area that maybe say for instance here where there's maybe just needs a little bit more paste on. Okay, show a little painter's trick for you. Okay, so just get your blade, tuck in, be very careful. Lift it off. Okay, and then if you don't have a brush or just want a little bit of paste, just put some on the top of your blade. Okay, and just run it in. Get your sponge again, and that sits perfectly. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Let's put this next one on. So now I'm going to just carry on with the rest of the wall. I've just got just 4 pieces left to go.